Thanks for staying with us. So in the last couple of days, story has been online. Quite interesting conversations going on between celebrities, especially concerning the fact that people are accusing others of their sexual orientations not being disclosed to the public. Their true sexual orientation not being disclosed to the public. And it's becoming a conversation worth having because many families are finding out that their partners are not who they said they are. You know, we've discussed it on this table before where we've had people who've come to us privately and told us, listen, I found out that my husband likes men. We've had few children and we have an agreement where he sleeps in the living room, I sleep in the bedroom, and we have to just keep the family together just to save face somewhat. But what are your thoughts on this? Because I think Tiana started the conversation concerning this, and I think that's moved to Nkechi lesson. But I'd like Nima to establish the story so that we can have a good, robust conversation about it. Go ahead, Nima.
So both Tiana and Nkechi just insinuating the same thing on their post. They said, sorry, Blessing, see you, not Nkechi. Tiana said, can we talk about how gay men have normalized being married with kids and sleeping with men around Lagos? Like, seriously, I can't get over what I just saw. I see this man with his wife forming love on social media, and the man, he's sleeping with my guy. And some of your faves are on this table, or why are you all deceiving those innocent women? This 2024, they'll say no grief for anybody. I beg this year, make I talk everything where I see, or make I agree. And then she went on and said, gave details that is becoming crazy. See, if you are gay, come out and stop deceiving people into marriage so you have kids with them, then disgrace them. But women, how can you not know that your man moves this way? I believe some of these women even know and are in denial. There's no way, there's no traits. Imagine you see a married man swinging hands and hips when he walks and acts girly. Yet you make excuses for him. Some of these men are even straight and manly. Maybe they paid you to have the kids as cover-up because that's the only excuse I can see. You don't have to get married now. You can get a surrogate and get your kids. Honestly, it's a shameful act and unfair to the women. Ladies, once your man wants to check him and run, no, 2024, no grief for anybody. Meanwhile, I have nothing against being gay. I simply said, don't deceive women into marrying you and having kids. Then she's not against gay.
It's the deceit.
She's the deceit.
Yeah.
We are against gay.
Yeah.
For me.
Yeah. I think is that this deception that is a conversation, and I said we've discussed it here before because I know somebody personally that this has happened to, and I know her very well, and even till today, she's just living her life the best she can, knowing that her spouse is gay, you know, and he's also accepted. At least so they have an agreement, you know, and they're still together till today. And it's quite painful of her reality because she's not really living her best life. I mean, she's just, you know, in the shadow of herself. You know, she's trying really hard, but it's never easy when you can just be free to open and just be who you are. So that's the conversation today. I mean, we don't know who the person is. We're not even interested in who this person is because we don't care about the person. It's about that deception. We need to discuss that. Let me come to you.
So I know that in life, right, nobody keeps it 100%. But then when you're getting into a relationship with somebody who you claim to love, even if you don't keep it 100%, give us at least 85 to 90, right? Because this is somebody who you want to go the long haul with, somebody who you want to go on a journey with. And I understand a bit how it's not easy to come out if you're working like against the norm. So we have the normal, which is man, woman. But now you are tilted towards the abnormal. And you are living in a society that really doesn't understand and accept it as it is. So I can understand why you want to hide who you are, because you don't want judgment from people around you. You don't want judgment from society. You don't even want, if you say, okay, let's come out and just say it as it is, most of them will not be married. I do not think there are women who willingly, there may be a few, but majority of the women will not willingly want to spend their life with somebody that they're going to be pretending, because a woman wants to build her home, it wants to be in charge, be in control, and lead, you know, in that circle. But now, when you have a relationship where you're now telling the woman that this is how I feel about you. I'm not really, but we can just do this for the children and keep that facade. Not every woman would want to be in that space. So it's also a way to self-preserve. They're trying to preserve themselves as well because they're in a society. Imagine if these people go where they can be free. They won't need to hide. So we also need to ask ourselves, because I remember there was a time we raised this conversation and some of us were like, are you sure this is happening? It's not possible in this place. And I kept saying that this is happening and they are hiding because we're not ready to have this conversation. So the thing is, are you ready for it to be kept 100%? We need to ask ourselves, are we ready that your church member comes out to say, okay, this is how I am now. Can you put up with him? Are you ready to have that conversation? We know how we get when we know somebody is like this, even in the workspace, and how we just try to mind our business and, are we ready to have that conversation?
Okay.
So when we have the conversation on sexual orientation in Nigeria, this is what I see Nigerians do. We put our hands over our ears and go, la, 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 la. We want to pretend it does not exist. And then when the consequences of not addressing a situation honestly and head-on starts to happen, we are still like this, So there was a time we had this conversation, Moreo, I think it was last year, and we had a woman call in. Already we were getting backlash on social media. Look at these women. People are trying to poison the minds of Nigerians. People are digging up stories that don't exist in Nigeria. And someone called in crying because she was in the same situation we're talking about, married her husband, and has found out years down the line that he is gay. And now she's thinking, what do I do next? Do I end my marriage? And some family members are saying, Auntie, you stay there, So what we are saying is that it's unfair for someone to find themselves in a situation where the man has deceived her into marrying him, and that is not who he really is. You have raised your child, you have raised your daughter. She's finally getting married, but she does not know the real person because we have refused to have that conversation. There are gay people in Nigeria.
Yes, so
they exist. Let them say it so that those who do not want to be affiliated with people like that in marriage situation, any form of union, know for certain so they do not go there. I understand where we're coming from. It's not our culture. It's not our religion. It's something that we frown upon. Yes, that is one side of the conversation. But the other side of the conversation is that we need to know who they are so that people would not be suffering for what they did not, reaping what they did not sow. It's not fair. It's not right. Then you have children in this whole mix. What are where do you start from? I just would like for everybody to just sit down and just sitting down looking at your husband today, and then you find out that he's like that. How would you feel? Wouldn't you have preferred that this person had told you from the very beginning? Now, to those who are keeping it away from you, there's a reason they're keeping it away. Because every time they bring it up, we will tongue lash them, we lock them up, different sorts of things. So they're afraid to come out.
I was going to focus on that, Miriam, for a second. Let me come to that because we always focus a bit on the women finding out. Forget that those men, or maybe the men who are homosexual, they also are going through a serious mental torture for their own practice of what they do because they have family obligations. Their parents expect them to get married, to be like all the other persons. There's a friend of mine, the place not watching TV today. For whatever reason, he's not married. I keep saying, Brian, this girl friend, are you sure he's not? Because, the only person. I'm wondering, what is going on? Because essentially, we must normalize the conversation. Not normalize, but we must be open.
The conversation.
We're open to the conversation. Because the truth is that this, by the way, Nima is looking at me, you are slashing, you are looking at me, I don't like the way you are looking at me. But the truth is that, as Miriam rightly said, they exist, and they also have families who they feel that my mother wants to see me married. My parents want to see me have a grandchild. I would do anything to make my parents happy. Let me just get this girl, have a child, and move on. So that my parents are even happy that I've done. So they also are being tortured internally for their family obligations.
So maybe because as Nadia talked now, my head was just being, it was like I was swimming or inside water or something. Because the reality of what Miriam is saying is scary. the place you are going is the fear of every parent whose generation was not exposed to this. Yeah. How do you sit down? Somebody just come and tell you, I'm not straight.
5 years
As
down
in,
the line.
it's me who born you. You were straight when I born you. Straighter than as it can be.
A ruler.
I don't know how you come and I don't get it. I cannot process it as a parent. Now we have a legislation that criminalizes it, but it has not even, I don't know whether it opens up the area of coming out and allows maybe some form of leniency at that point so that they don't hide. They can then say, I'm not straight, but can you do marriage with me? Because I think that opening up itself is still criminal. I'm going to have to, as I'm leaving the, I'll call
That's
my
where the
secretary to
open
get that
marriage
act
comes in
now.
point where okay, you can have be who you are. We say I have a contract with you.
Yeah.
Both of us, let's do this, have these
Is
children.
it before marriage, or she finds out 10 years down the line, 5
Exactly.
years down the line?
So
That's
the,
what
com-
cars
so
are.
the conversation we're having now is that it should be before. It should
We
be
must now
before.
criminalize
Deception.
deceit.
Yes.
Because that is the damage. If you come out at the beginning and open up, it's called disclosure. In every rule, disclosure
partner,
is always...
you don't have to open up to the world.
You don't have to open up to the world, and your partner can be, legislated to be compelled to confidence. But the deceit should be criminal. It should be grievously criminal. They should put very deterring consequence for the deceit. Because women, I was shocked. All these things, we used to hear it and read it. But when a girl was gisting myself and a friend that I married, and within 6 months, she moved out of the house. We're now saying, you do that kind of big party to go and divorce. You don't even get patience. There's something in marriage. All of us, we are copying.
And
the girl was just looking at us like this and said, there was a boy always following my husband. He was supposed to be like his PA. But when they got married, he moved in, and he was like, your office did not reach the home now. He said, no, if you don't want to see this boy around me, you have already started. You are an impatient man. He just said, It was like the list we were reading yesterday. He was calling her unforgiving. He gave her all the reels.
I was there in that gist.
Oh, you were there?
Yes, we were there together.
Until they go and cash it like this, until she cashed it. And when she told her parents, they encouraged her. In fact, they moved
Carry
her
her bag
things
and go.
and moved her out. And the deceit she found on time. Imagine that you are born children. How do you do that? How do you cope?
So yeah, it's also the assumption that every woman would reject them. There are young girls I know that don't mind. The world is really
Changing.
evolving faster than during our time. And there are some young people that I've had conversations with, they don't mind. As long as I'm happy, we have an agreement, you do what you need to do.
Relationship.
Yes, and even in different male and female relationship, we have a lot of open relationship in places, especially in the cities, where you come to an agreement that we're together, we parents, we cohabit, but I do my own thing, you do your own thing. Just don't bring it to my face, and I don't want to know what you do. And they are raising children, but I am more worried about the effects on the young people that they raise at the end of the day. You know why? Because I know if you come out and it's okay, the society is now allowing 2 male or 2 female being together, now they cannot bear children. But they still want to have children. You understand that what you are doing will not give you children. Okay. But you still want children because you want to please your own self.
All right, so we're talking initially about deception in marriage, especially these days, in those modern times. Many people come together because of various pressures. Your family wants you to get married. All your friends and colleagues are getting married. And you know that traditionally you can't marry the way based on your own orientation. And then you just meet a girl, do what you have to do, and then it's the deception of it. And then 10 years, 5 years down the line, she finds out that you're not really into it. Or that you have somebody else, you're sexually attracted to another man. That's the issue we are focusing on. And how do we help these situations? That's why we're preferring that disclosure. Yes. Before people are modern enough now, especially the modern marriages. Yeah. Maybe during our own time, we would have called it abomination. But modern marriages, if you have a conversation with a young 21, 22-year-old, like, listen, this is who I am. Can we do together and have a family and raise kids? They might be more receptive to understand where you're coming from. But how do we find a way to ensure that people don't deceive each other, especially in a society that doesn't accept their practice?
Especially women who have not forgiven deception that you have another woman somewhere. How did I process that is the man?
Jesus.
I don't, let me just be on this table.
What you have just said now, I can imagine a man saying, "You're even lucky it's not a man.
Hey!
Your mates outside are dealing with beating." Do you understand? But, you know, it's such a serious issue. I remember a particular story where a lady said she caught her husband viewing some sites, you know, the pornographic sites, and realized that he was looking at sites that was about homosexuality and gay. And, you know, and then other times she's seen conversations where he seemed to be having with a friend that she knows, you know, a male friend. And when she looked into the phone, the conversation was too intimate to be between two men. And for a long time, she sat with the thought, what do I do now? Because when she confronted him, he denied it. What, are you crazy? How dare you accuse me that way? What is it about me that I've shown you for you to think that way? It took many years after those incidents for her to catch him red-handed. And for me, it's just the unfairness of it. It's not right. Do you know, anytime I think about it, I feel so agitated. It's unfair to put someone through that. If you have any love, any compassion for somebody, please don't do that. The person doesn't need to find out 10 years, 5 years down the line. There's something that is just inherently...
What do you think women want to hear the truth?
Yes.
People don't. Some women
From the
don't.
get-go.
No. Some women don't want to hear. They want just get married. I don't care. I don't just marry me.
Yeah. So
you're gay, you're not gay. Just marry me. There are women like that.
No, I disagree. There's some people. There's a line. There's some. Yes, you're right. Sometimes women get to an age where just get married to me. But many people also have one line that they would not cross. Let them know what line it is. Some people will tell you, no matter what, no matter how rich and handsome he is, if he's violent, I don't want.
Okay,
do you understand?
I know that human beings naturally deceive people, right? We've had stories of a woman being married to a man, and for many years, she never knew that the man had another woman outside who is birthing. So if a man to a woman relationship, this can happen, why is it so difficult? Or why are we expecting disclosure from a man to man? They are human beings as well. So if I can deceive you in a man-to-woman relationship, I have the capacity to deceive you in a man-to-man. It's not about the sexes, it's about the human nature. We can be deceptive. Not everybody is deceptive.
Let me pause you for a quick second.
Okay.
Israel's holding. Israel from Ado Ekiti. Hello, Israel. Hello. Go ahead.
Yeah, so why we see this one as grievous is because our society hasn't accepted it. That's why it's seeming so grievous, right? If we're in a society that has accepted it, it's almost the same with heterosexual relationships. You can hide somebody, bring children tomorrow, we've talked about DNA, you know, a lot of fathers now finding out that they have been in deceptive marriages where the children they have been raising for years are not theirs. It's all that part of deceit, right? But it's just, we're just speaking more on this because it's just something that's opening. We're now beginning to see the reality of this in our society, which is new to us. And we're now saying, okay, please disclose. So for me, it's not just disclose when you are the other way. Even when you are the normal way, disclose. Do not marry somebody with an intention of hiding those aspects of life from that person. Whether you have a wife and you have another wife outside that is birthing for you, disclose it. Have that conversation. Whether you want to be polygamous at the end of the day, from arranging to be monogamous, and then a few years down the line, Pepe, don't rest your hand, you want to add more, disclose it. Everything you have to do in a relationship, disclose it, so that people can now make informed choices and not regret a few years back that you lied to me. So disclose it and prosecute, like Ima is saying.
I want to more that time that women can't accept. Women have never accepted deceit in marriages. You know, I remember when we were, you know, being that age of finding suitors. If you have an ancestral problem, I'd like to know. If you're an ex-cultist, I would like to know. I always used to say then to myself, I don't want to carry cross I did not carry you, as I was not party to. Please don't, if you have any baggage, disclose. You know, women would really like, because we are not so advantaged in marriages. The table is not, as in, we are not at equal level. You know, there's ways a man who is finding out certain things in marriage can move on. In my tradition, my grandfather would say, just remarry. I know my uncles in their 50s who have kids that, you know, they're just starting their life again. They had been married, but they're starting again. But it's not always the same power for women.
Yeah.
We have a menopause, we have a clock, we have all of that. So please.
Let me take Ibrahim from Abuja. Thanks for calling, Ibrahim. You're live. Go ahead, please.
Good morning, Mura.
Morning.
Yeah, your fellow interviewer, Lady on Blue, I don't know her name very well, but I think we should always go against what is wrong in the society. I don't think, mere talking about this, we are more like promoting what is bad. If we are talking, if the way we paint it, the way we are discussing it, we are more or less like we are promoting what is bad. There are certain things that are morally wrong and societal, but we're not supposed to have been discussing things of this on air. We have to.
On earth.
On air.
Oh, I thought you said on earth.
So that's the perfect perspective.
That's what I'm saying.
Another actor's wife also posted, sort of insinuating, you know, something like this, and said, he's marrying someone who has been married twice already, not a red flag. Like, both exes are alive, not one time or twice. You know, you can't tell me nothing. That person must be a narcissist trying to go towards this disclosure issue. So what was trending yesterday was all of them trying to disclose, I suppose, something that's or an individual that they know of. And I'm wondering, what are the signs that we'll now be looking for?
You won't know.
Because Tiana says if he swing waist, if he swing hand. This one says he's been divorced twice and 2 exes are alive. I met someone yesterday and he was saying, this is my 3rd marriage. I should assume.
So I was going to say about the deceit, where Nima rightly said that women do not handle deceit well. So,
Excuse me.
You know, when we say men have constantly deceived women, or you have a wife outside, or there's a woman giving birth to children outside, we still see how they respond to it. But for the woman that knows up front, it's different. So that's why the deception is the real matter here. If you are going to, no matter what your human nature is, if you have a secret, please, up front is the best way to handle it, and then let the person make the choice. There are so many family dynamics that sometimes when we sit on it and hear it, we're shocked that there's a human being that is willing to be part of it. But they are, and the reason why they are in that situation is because they knew about it and they made the decision to be in that situation.
So
but many people in this particular case are unaware. But you were going somewhere to which Tiana went as far. She's saying that there should be some indications, some signals to women when you're finally picking a man to marry and who may be that way inclined. So what are the things? She mentioned that the person may be effeminate, the way they do their fingers and swing their hips. That should be something that makes you question. So if, but I know that there are some people that are effeminate and not necessarily that way. But that should be a time for conversation. Uncle, you know this is a problem that is happening everywhere. Is this who you are? This is a safe place. Let me know, because it will not be acceptable that when I get into marriage, then I find myself in a situation that I did not ask for.
Let's talk about Ibrahim's perspective.
Okay.
Says it's morally wrong, and we shouldn't be discussing this on national TV. And it's something that we need to address, because the truth is that, as Nima rightly said, it's against our law. It's like you're talking about fraud, something that's illegal. You know, these are conversations we have. So when something is illegal, doesn't mean we can't talk about it. Now, he says morally wrong. Many people would argue that, okay, yes, whose compass are we using to judge how morally wrong this is? Yes, we are in Nigeria and we understand and respect our shores, no doubt about that. But it's part of the quietness that we're saying that we know we do it. So we know somebody is a fraudster, he's a yahoo, but we pretend that he's not because we don't want anybody. So we know he's making plenty money. We know he's yahoo, but we choose not to talk about it.
So for someone who stood on that side for a long time, remember when Princess came on the show, I was like, don't popularize the unpopular. Don't even promote it. Don't even feed it. But it was long after we met this lady that we were both listening to, and I was like, maybe we should start to talk about it so people know what to look out for, so people know what to disclose. That's the men, for instance, who don't then need to add some form of narcissism to it for the cover-up, the domestic violence for the cover-up. I handled a case in my office. In fact, that case was handled by a very senior lawyer who is very popular. And when they got every proper thing that should be done procedural-wise, I saw in the processes they brought to my office. And I was shocked that they still got to me. If this person prosecuted this into no avail, what do you think I can do? All the process, I said, you just want media because you think I'm on TV. And she was like, if that can help. She had a son, and her husband, who was gay, she found him with his whatever in the baby's mouth.
No way.
God.
I'm telling you.
That can be true.
Yeah.
I'm telling
It's
you.
in real life.
I'm telling you. And at the time, all the blogs had already carried the story, and I didn't know this thing, I could meet the
Jesus
person.
Christ.
So the sad thing is, if we don't talk about the
it.
damages
Hey,
possible from this thing, I have been on the side of don't popularize, don't disclose. But right now, I'm on the side of talk so people know how badly damaging this can be.
Yeah.
This girl was 23, young girl. She didn't need this drama. And she didn't know what to do.
know.
And I don't even think a 43-year-old would know what to do if you are not prepared for that life. So when Miriam was talking about what you know, the devil you know is better than the one you don't know kind of example, it makes sense. Because now we say don't popularize, don't feed.
Don't talk.
But the damage is there.
But let's look at it. Nima,
There was a time
let's
there
look at
was
it.
a
Wait,
trend.
let's look at it both sides. If we popularize it,
We're not popular.
how? If we talk about it,
We're not trying to popularize.
how will it not be popularized?
No.
We
It's
can
already
talk.
popularized.
Thank
Whether
you.
you talk or you don't talk,
That's
social
hush.
media is there.
The
We are
hush.
not the only ones that are talking. Social media is there. A lot of our children even know what it is.
These things, yes.
That's how deep it has gotten into the fabrics of the society. They know. There was a day I was having a conversation with my children, and they were giving me all the names that I've not even heard. Where did you people hear this? So we discuss it. We talk about it in school. Our friends talk about it. People talk. They know already. So educating people to make informed decisions so that they are not taken advantage of is what this conversation is all about. If you are saying let us close our eyes so that we don't popularize, it's already popular, brother. There's nothing you can do about
People
it.
don't then know
There's
how to
nothing.
cope.
But I would like to give maybe a few tips on some of the signs that we can be looking out for, right? It's very difficult because even in a heterosexual relationship, that's the man and the woman, we have people who still fall into this sort of traps of deceit, even when the red flags are in front of them. They just ignore and, for whatever reason. So this one too, we'll still have people, even after getting a few tips, that will still fall into it and realize later, because human beings are naturally stubborn. But we would do,
lack of knowledge.
exactly, we would do what we can do. So when your partner is emotionally detached, there's no form of emotion. Everything is business, transaction-like. You can suspect that. Are you sure? Because when you are in a loving relationship, emotions will flow from time to time. It doesn't mean that it's every day you are doing mushy, but it will flow. That's one. When your partner is not interested in the opposite sex, cannot even check out a woman. There was a time I went on set, and there was this guy they were talking about. And everybody kept complaining that he doesn't, like, you are a woman, pretty, you are well-dressed, you are ready for action and everything. He doesn't even see you. He looks past, he looks through you, he doesn't see you. And people kept talking about it, and then we started asking questions, what's happening? Only for them to realize that he's more interested in the younger boys around. Because I knew something was off. How you go see fine babe, look, even to say, you're looking hot today now, yeah, let's run our lines or rest. Nothing like, he looks past, and I was not the only one who noticed it. A lot of other women have noticed it, right? And it checked out to be true. So you have a partner who doesn't appreciate or admire another woman, not once since you've known that person. Even you, Seffi, they hardly they admire you. They hardly talk about you. Like, see,
So how did he toast you? I mean, if he did not admire you,
Let me take this Mr. Tijani's comment, and I think he says, good morning, and how are you? Trust you guys are healed and healthy. Honestly, can we answer this question? Are we here to follow our own inordinate interest or the dictates of Allah, subhanahu wa ta'ala, the subject of, yes, subhanahu wa ta'ala, the subject of gay or lesbianism in both books of God? was melted with total destructions of Sodom and Gomorrah. Let humanity speak in one voice to condemn this aberration of creations. This is a threat to God's command. God says, go to the lands and multiply. God, the owner of heaven and earth, in his wisdom, created Adam and Eve. If God wanted to create homosexual gayism or lesbian, he would have done Adam and Eve alone.
Or Adam and Adam.
Adam alone. We must be united to condemn this evil. Iblis or Satan is at work to destroy humanity. We must not let Iblis or Satan to win. So this is a perspective the average Nigerian believes, because both our books, our religious perspective, both our books totally abhors this act.
Yeah.
Nobody is saying the act is right.
God forbid.
What we are saying is that many people are involved in this illegal or evil act, right? Now, in this their act, they're now deceiving their significant other, either male or female, into marriages, and they're having children, and they're further destroying the fabric of society because you're raising children in this kind of situation, the toxic in marriage, in this kind of situation. So how do we fix it? Do we pretend it's not there and continue to do it, or do we talk about it and let people know, come out and tell me who you are? So if I want to enter this marriage, I know how I'm entering.
The intense and the damage of it is what is forcing us to do what we would not do ordinarily, which is having these conversations. Yeah. So that a young girl that is sitting down and just thinking, all I need is money, will not be thinking, oh, what if it's this now? And a young guy that is seeking and saying, all I need is a good girl, kiniko, that, will be also checking what if she's the other way as well. These conversations, these options, people will now be able to bring it into some of the red flags they would also stick before they pick a person or before they say, no, I can't take a person. For instance, a man who is, that we grew up in the MSSN, a man who is interested in me, if he's asking me out, he can't even look at me in the MSS. So you'll be looking down, because if you look at me too much, you have sinned. So you're looking down. I remember my husband meeting me, and he wasn't a MSSN person. And the first thing the guy did was trying to shake my head. Are you sure this one won't marry me? That was my own reaction. But right now, I don't know how to see it. Whether I should be appreciative that he even tried.
Some
of these things are now forcing us to, to look at it.
Reevaluate. Let me take Ade from London. Thanks for calling, Ade. You're live.
Yes, good morning, ladies.
Morning.
I don't want us to put religion into this thing. It has nothing to do with religion at all. Okay. Either you are a Christian or Muslim, both sides, they do it. I used to live in Kano in late 70s. And the way we identify them, we call them down-down. Those who understand Hausa will understand that. And they used to put them in the shop. When you see a man in the shop talking like that, we know this down-down, which means he has a man sleeping with him. So it's been existing for years. It doesn't matter. It's not about religion. But it's a bad thing. But we must talk about it. In England here, in the UK, last year they were striking in Manchester because the government introduced that they were teaching the children from kindergarten about gay. The children and the family were protesting, mainly those protesting, Sikh, Muslim, Christian, all of them were demonstrating. But the government didn't listen. They said they need to know before they get to secondary school that this is gay, so they can choose what they want. So by not talking about it, we're just cheating ourselves. Because it's everywhere on the internet, everywhere. So it's not about religion at all. Let's forget about religion. So it's a bad thing.
Thank you very much, Ade. So I'll go on a break now. We'll come back, we'll discuss, can we protect ourselves from this? Stay with us, we'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.